Hi everyone, it's me, Lauren Bersaglio, and I'm here with another Sunday video. Today I'm going to be talking about a little bit of a heavier topic. I'm going to be talking about self-harm. So for those of you who don't know a little bit more of my story, on top of my eating disorder, I also went through periods of time where I did deal with self-harm. So, what is self harm, first of all? Self harm is any action that you take out against your body that's destructive and intentionally destructive. And so, the most common kind of understanding is cutting and scratching. So, as many of you know, this last semester was an incredibly tough one for me. I went through a lot of really stressful times and really difficult times emotionally. And so, one of the things that I actually ended up struggling with again for the first time in quite a few years was self harm. Now, I want to just say that I have never engaged in the type of self harm where it gets to the extreme of needing to be hospitalized or some of the more dramatic things. It can be on a continuum of kind of how involved or how extreme your self harm is. But I really want the message I want to send out in this video is, first of all forms of self harm are serious and they are dangerous. And second of all, I want you to know that I understand it doesn't matter if you're on the lower end of the continuum as far as the severity of your self harm or the higher end. Your pain and your emotions can be the same. People on either side of the continuum, they can experience the same pain and the same emotions. I just read an article. It was a really excellent article, actually, and I'll link to it below this video, on self-harm and on stigma. And she talked about this very thing about, sometimes feeling like, oh, well, I've never gone to that extreme. And so, clearly my pain might not be, as serious, or people look at you and they just assume or judge that, oh, well, because you're only doing it that extreme, your pain isn't that serious. But that's not the case, and that's not exactly how it works. What you're feeling on the inside is so real, and the extent to what you're feeling is so real. So the other thing I just want to talk about is the kind of slippery slope, so to speak. So when I talk about there being a continuum, there's the lower type, and then there's the more extreme type. And like I said, I was kind of more on the lower end of the scale. But what I experienced in myself is it is a slippery slope, and very quickly it becomes more and more serious. So you might start with something that is not extreme at all. It might not even leave any marks, but it very quickly and very rapidly can get out of control. The severity can be on a slippery slope where it gets more and more extreme and out of control, and the frequency of it. And so it might just be, oh, it was this one time, but very quickly, oh, this one time can turn into every day, multiple times a day. And it's a very serious thing because you are doing damage and you can kill yourself. One big part of the stigma with self harm is people assume that you're doing it because you want to kill yourself. But very often I found with myself, with people I've talked with, that's not actually our intention. We're not trying to die. I never wanted to die. It's just a way of letting out anger, taking out anger on ourselves. So it's important for people who are watching this that maybe haven't experienced self-harm, but it's important for you to understand that very often people who are harming themselves, they don't want to die. But here's the thing, you can die and you can kill yourself, and it's a very serious thing. So it needs to be addressed immediately. It needs to be taken seriously. So first, one of the things that a lot of people kind of forget about is just talking about physical health. You can get an infection very easily. You can get a really bad infection. So this semester, one of the things that I had to do was I went to my doctor and I had to show him my wrists, and he had to look and make sure that it wasn't getting infected. He gave me antibiotic cream to put on it. So first of all, you cannot leave that part out. You need to go to a doctor and make sure that nothing is getting infected. And then the other thing that I did is I went to a counselor. So I hadn't actually gone to counseling for quite a while, but as soon as this happened, I went to a counselor and I got professional help because Again, just like eating disorders, this is a symptom of a deeper issue. Cutting is a symptom of a deeper issue. And so you need to address that deeper issue. And with self harm, very often, like with many behaviors, unhealthy behaviors, it's rooted in a lack of self love. And you need to find that love for yourself. And in order to do that, you need to go through therapy. And it was incredibly helpful for me. I have not cut myself in 2.5 months or more. I've kind of lost track. It really helped. So I want you to know also you can recover from this. And there's things you can do. So I want to give you a little list of things that you can do. So first of all, if you think you're in a situation, well, as soon as I cut myself the first time, I was on the phone and I called my cousin and I said, this is what happened and can you come here because I'm scared? And she came. So if you're in the mindset, if afterwards you're in the proper mindset to actually call someone so you can't be alone, so it can't escalate after it's happened even further, do that, call someone. If you're home alone and you feel like you're in a situation where you might be tempted to engage in self-harm, get out of the house, call someone, go somewhere public, get someone to come over to be with you, go to be with someone. If no one answers their phone, go to Starbucks, go to the grocery store, go to the mall, just do something, get out in public, and then seek help as soon as you can. Another thing that I did was I got tattoos on my wrist, and this is not an uncommon thing. As many of you know, I already had this one. This is my Libro tattoo. So I got this back in December, and it seemed weird to me to read the tattoo and be doing that to myself at the same time. So then I also went and got another tattoo on the other wrist. And so then this one says Bella, which is the Italian word for beautiful. So I have Libro, which is free, and Bella, which is beautiful. And as soon as I got that tattoo, it was deciding to get that tattoo was a really helpful thing because I did have to make an appointment and wait, but I knew they couldn't tattoo over fresh cuts. And so in the waiting period, I didn't want to cut myself because I knew the tattoo was coming. And then obviously once the tattoo was there, first of all, I dealt with a lot of the emotional issues, so I wasn't feeling triggered to do that to myself anymore. But second of all, I know now in the future that I will have a reminder. So I really encourage you to do something like that. Put reminders right on the area that you want to harm. So those are kind of my tips, and I know that there's probably a lot more that I could say about this, but I just wanted to talk. I understand why you're doing this. I can relate, and I just encourage you to fight back, because even though you might feel dead inside right now, you're still very much alive. You're alive, you're breathing, you're watching this video. You're not dead yet. When I was going through this earlier this year, and I was so scared. I was scared for my life, really. And I had this dream, and it felt really real. And in my dream, I woke up in my dream, and my friend, we were sitting on the couch, and my friend was sitting next to me, and I was just sitting there in silence, and he just looked at me and he was like, "You're alive. You're still alive. You're not dead yet. You're still alive." And I woke up then from the dream, and for those of you who are Switchfoot fans, it's actually kind of along the lines of one of their songs. John Foreman sings about a very similar situation, but I woke up and I realized I am alive. I'm alive whether I feel like it or not. And so I'm going to fight because I want to stay alive. And so that's the message I want to get across to you too, if you are dealing with this. Imagine that I'm sitting on the couch with you, or wherever you're sitting. Imagine me sitting next to you right now, and I'm saying you're still alive. You're not dead yet. Despite what you feel, you're not dead yet. You're still alive. And if you're watching this video, you want to be alive. You want to stay alive. Jenny Schaefer says there's a little piece in all of us that wants to live. So tap into that and fight back. And don't expect perfection of yourself, but start making progress and move forward, because you can recover from this. Because I haven't cut myself in months, and I have no intention of doing it again. found this encouraging. And that's kind of all I have to say. I will talk to you guys soon. Ciao.